Hey guys, it's Luke, and today I'll be talking about my Illusions of Life Folio 2. So, at the end of last semester, I sort of planned on going and doing a grey box and some animations for animals and such, but I think that is suited a little bit more closer to studio, not to undermine this class, of course, but I wanted to explore something a little bit broader while I sort of have the chance. So I decided to sort of focus on the mood and atmosphere of the game that I want to convey, because I'm not really that good at horror and stuff, so it's actually a very new experience for me, so I wanted to just sort of immerse myself in that. I can't even play through a horror game because I get too scared. um, week 7 sort of went a little bit awry. I wasn't expecting it straight up, but I had to subvert the expectations of something. I couldn't really think of a way to do it for my game, so I chose to do it for the tool that I'm using. Maya, it's such a powerful tool. You think that you'll just make a tree, make a rock, make all these things super quick and simply. But I decided to spend an hour on this tree, and as you can see, I've only just made the trunk. I've done a very quick unwrap and added a texture, and it just looks completely terrible. And it's sort of trying to subvert expectations to me doesn't sound like it's a good thing all the time, because in this case, it makes me think that I really should have just used a pre-done asset for rocks and trees and stuff, because it's just sort of a waste of time in the broader scale of doing like a full project. I'm pretty sure, like, when you're making a full game, or if you work for a big company, you probably have a asset library as such as that you use, unless you need like a particular custom asset. Yeah, so that's sort of my take on week 7. Moving on to week 8, it was dualities and oppositions, so things that work together and things that oppose each other. So shadows and fear, light and safety, loneliness and anxiety, prison guard and human interaction, life and death, repetition and monotony. So I started off with light. As you can see, the lantern provides safety for him. Everything around him sort of morphs into something dangerous and evil. Whereas when you see that the light actually fully illuminates everything on the island, there's nothing there. It is just himself and his mind is indeed playing tricks on him. This second one, I was playing with the human interaction and the prison guard one. I couldn't really convey my ideas into a particular picture, so I decided to use the medium of writing and storytelling, which I haven't done before, so it was really new to me, and I actually found it to be a big help. Um, yeah, I think I did a pretty okay job at it. But it was very, I just haven't written anything before, so it was lots of fun. Week 9 was stillness, so that was focusing on the environment being still and the character moving, and the character moving and the environment being still. I didn't really do very broad scenes, unfortunately. Um, yeah, no excuses. Yeah. So as you can see here, it's the rain and the trees moving. A bit broad. I haven't done 2D animation in a long time, so it was really fun to sort of stick myself back into that sort of medium as well. I've always sort of made things too detail orientated to do 2D animation, but I should be focusing on the animation rather. So it was fun to play around with. I think my next one's a little bit better, focusing on the character more. I actually worked on the slow ins and outs, and trying to build up sort of the strain in his arm here as he like shoves it into the ground, and then the slow lift to show the weight of the shovel and the dirt, and then there's the flick as he throws the dirt onto the side. Yeah, this was lots of fun. I'm pretty proud of this one for a short, just a short exercise. Moving on from here, we have the self-directed exploration. So I was working on, I decided to reiterate my references, because I hadn't. Sometimes you move away from them and they have some really useful information, and it helps you get out of like a, art, like stunted art moment where you just can't think of what to do. And I think that, some people probably forget about their references further and deeper into a project. And then I also had to redo one of my previous weeks of work, so I chose dualities, which you'll see at the end. So I chose games that sort of have, they're sort of the same thing, a thriller horror game. But really I chose Blair Witch 2019 because I really liked the environment you start off in this trailer. The fog in at the back there, sort of obscuring things. I think it would work really well to have shadows moving, and and whatnot. Little things like those things hanging from the trees to make you think there's more going on, sort of. There's another part in here where, yeah, I really love this lighting because it makes you think that this place is just sick. Something's wrong. I think it's really a really useful reference for my swamp area in my game. I think that will really help me sort of, show off the location looking at this reference. The next one was the mortuary assistant. It's really just the mortuary assistant. The whole thing is sort of just my reference, not really the look or anything. You're stuck in a small place, the mortuary versus the island. There's this feeling that something's watching you as you saw the creatures out there. You're doing a creepy thing all the time to sort of make you uneasy, sort of, playing with the bodies and everything, and, preparing them to be, incinerated. Whereas in mine, you'll be burying the bodies and such. Yeah, and it just sort of has little puzzle aspects here and there. It's sort of just the whole game is sort of a good reference for me. Oh my god, I'm running out of time. Biohazard, Resident Evil Biohazard, it's all set in a swamp. So the whole first section where you're wandering around in the swamp is just a really awesome reference for me. The lighting, the color, the colors they use. And then also Resident Evil 7 having its classic little puzzles as well. It's just another great all-around reference for me. My dualities was essentially me playing with lighting again. You should be safe inside your shack, but of course there's things lurking around in the darkness outside, trees scraping on the edges of your shack. There's always something that makes him uneasy in this place. Little person hiding in the window there, lit by his little candle. The documented iteration was sort of just going back and playing with more things to sort of reiterate your, just to continue iterating on the initial idea of your project, which, I wanted to add a little POV here, so as you can see, the light is the safety and everything else sort of morphs into this sort of, danger. You just want to get to the light, but as you can see, in daytime, there's nothing there because it is just all in his head. I made this quick animation to sort of play around with the idea of that, I was watching my references, and I thought the things move around in the shadows, so I tried to make this short little animation playing around with, what maybe, is it the shadow moving, is it him moving his lantern, what's going on. Yeah, just made me think of this thing that I wanted to make, which I think is the best thing about references. And yeah, that's sort of the end. I think that, just a quick thinking about my project, I think I could have done a little bit more iteration. I think I sort of got to play around with certain things that I hadn't done before, like writing and 2D animation, which I haven't done in a long time. It was really interesting to play around with like the horror aspects. I haven't really drawn things like this before or animated things like this before, so it was really good new experience for me to think about, and I think it's definitely given me a little bit more things to work on in the future. Yeah, thank you very much for listening. I've got to end this now because I'm going way over time. Alright, bye bye.